The soft hum of the city outside his apartment was the only sound breaking the quiet. Alex sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wardrobe mirror, his heart a mixture of excitement and nerves. To the outside world, he was just another 22-year-old man in a relationship with Emma, a confident, stylish woman who had no idea about the secret he carefully guarded: his passion for feminine clothing, delicate makeup, and the thrill of living as someone entirely different when alone. Alex's journey into this secret life hadn't been sudden. It began during high school when he stumbled upon an old box of his sister's dresses tucked away in the attic. At first, it was curiosity, an innocent experiment, slipping into the soft fabrics, feeling their weight and texture against his skin, but soon it became a secret refuge. In these moments, he could explore the side of himself that craved softness, attention to detail, and the beauty of transformation. Every ribbon, every wig, every brushstroke of makeup became a portal into another version of Alex, one he rarely let anyone see. Despite his outward confidence, Alex lived in a delicate balance. By day, he was meticulous, organized, and charming in his work as a junior graphic designer. His colleagues knew him as reliable and a bit introverted, but none suspected the intricate, feminine world he navigated in private. At night, his apartment transformed into a personal atelier, full of dresses, heels, and cosmetics meticulously arranged. In these quiet hours, Alex could indulge in the persona he craved: soft-spoken, graceful, and utterly feminine, a side of himself that had no audience but the reflection in his mirror. Emma, his girlfriend of a year, was the only constant in his life that made him fear exposure. She was outgoing, stylish, and charming, the kind of woman whose social circles would quickly amplify any secret she discovered. Alex adored her, but her presence made him cautious. He longed to share this part of himself, to show her the intricate, feminine layers he had cultivated in private, but the fear of judgment, of rejection, kept him silent. Sometimes, he wondered if she would even understand, or if his secret would shatter the relationship he cherished. The apartment smelled faintly of vanilla and lavender from a candle Emma had left burning, a reminder of her presence even in her absence. Alex ran his hands over the soft fabrics of the dress he had chosen for tonight's experiment, a delicate blush pink dress with lace details that hugged his figure in all the right places. He could feel the excitement coursing through him as he imagined slipping into the outfit, adjusting the wig that framed his face, and applying the makeup that would transform him completely. Each step was a ritual, a careful sequence that allowed him to embody the feminine side of himself without shame. Tonight, though, felt different. There was a tension in the air, a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. Emma had mentioned she might drop by earlier than expected, and the thought of being caught in the midst of transformation sent a shiver down his spine. Alex knew the stakes. Tonight's session wasn't just a simple indulgence. It was a test of his control, his ability to navigate the line between secrecy and self-expression. He glanced at the small digital clock on his nightstand. 8 minutes until Emma could walk through the door. His fingers trembled slightly as he began selecting the accessories: a delicate pearl necklace, matching earrings, and a pair of soft pink heels. Each item added to the illusion he was creating, each piece a small step closer to the version of himself he longed to be. The thrill of it, combined with the fear of being discovered, made his heart race. Alex paused in front of the mirror, taking a deep breath. His reflection stared back at him, a soft, feminine figure, delicate hands, carefully styled hair, and makeup that enhanced rather than disguised his features. He traced the line of his jaw and the curve of his lips, marveling at the duality of his existence. This reflection was both him and not him, a secret identity that lived alongside his daily persona, hidden but entirely real. The apartment was silent except for the faint hum of the city, yet Alex felt eyes on him. Not real eyes, but the imagined scrutiny of a world that might never accept him if this secret were revealed. He reminded himself that this was his choice, his sanctuary. Every brushstroke, every adjustment of his dress, was an act of courage, a claim to a part of himself that yearned to be seen. Just as he began slipping into the dress, there was a sudden knock at the door. His heart skipped a beat. Emma? Too early? He wasn't ready. Panic surged, but he forced himself to remain calm. Every step he had practiced for years, the graceful movement of his hands, the soft cadence of his voice, the careful navigation of space, would help him handle this. He tiptoed to the door, just enough to peek through the peephole. Relief flooded him. It wasn't Emma, just the delivery person holding a package. A small, unexpected gift from a friend who had no idea the secret world Alex was about to enter. He exhaled, his pulse gradually slowing, and turned back to his reflection. Tonight, he would explore the full extent of his feminine persona, the side of himself that had been hidden for years. There was fear, yes, but also an undeniable thrill. Every fabric, every brushstroke, every delicate movement was a declaration of identity, a moment of living authentically in a world that rarely understood. As Alex began his transformation, layering makeup, adjusting the wig, and sliding into the dress, he allowed himself a small, private smile. This was his sanctuary, his secret life, and for these precious hours, he could be completely, unapologetically himself. Yet, in the back of his mind, the ever-present question lingered. How long could this secret stay safe? The clock ticked closer to the moment Emma might return. Alex's heart raced, a mix of anticipation and dread. The mirror reflected not just his face, but the fragile duality of his existence, the delicate balance between the boy the world knew and the feminine persona he cherished in secret. And as he completed the final touches, smoothing the lace along his shoulders and adjusting the heels, Alex knew that tonight would be more than just another private indulgence. It would be a night that tested the boundaries of secrecy, identity, and the daring thrill of living a secret life, one that could unravel at the slightest misstep. He took a deep breath, one hand on the pearl necklace, the other adjusting the wig. In that instant, he felt a surge of confidence, fear, and anticipation all at once. The apartment, the city beyond, and the life he had carefully constructed were all suspended in a moment of delicate tension. And as the soft hum of the city continued outside, Alex, her feminine boyfriend, stood poised, ready to embrace the secret life that defined him, knowing that every heartbeat, every careful step, brought him closer to both discovery and liberation. The air in Alex's apartment felt charged, almost electric, as he carefully stepped into the blush-pink dress. Each movement was deliberate, measured, a dance he had practiced countless times in private. The lace brushed softly against his skin, sending shivers down his spine, blending the thrill of transformation with the vulnerability that came with revealing his hidden self, even if it was only to the mirror. Alex adjusted the wig for the third time, brushing loose strands into place, and paused to examine himself. The reflection staring back at him was almost unrecognizable, soft, delicate, feminine, yet unmistakably his own. He traced the line of his jaw, noting how the makeup accentuated his features, making him feel both confident and exposed. Every detail mattered: the blush, the eyeliner, the subtle highlight on his cheekbones. Each element was a layer of his secret identity, carefully constructed to feel real, authentic, and powerful. But tonight wasn't just about aesthetics. There was a challenge looming, one that would push the boundaries of secrecy further than ever before. Emma had mentioned she might drop by, unexpectedly, and Alex couldn't predict how close he would come to being discovered. The stakes were higher, the thrill more intense, and the fear sharper. He moved gracefully to the living room, heels clicking softly on the wooden floor, each step a test of balance, both physical and emotional. As he settled on the couch, he allowed himself a brief moment to reflect. This secret life had been a refuge for years, a way to explore the softer, more delicate side of himself that the world often misunderstood. Friends, colleagues, even family saw only Alex the professional, Alex the reliable, Alex the boyfriend. But in the quiet solitude of his apartment, he became someone entirely different, a person free to express femininity, to revel in beauty, and to embrace the thrill of transformation. Yet even in the sanctuary of his apartment, doubt gnawed at him. What if Emma discovered him tonight? What if a single misstep, an accidental message notification, a creaking floorboard, exposed the life he had carefully hidden? The fear was intoxicating, blending with excitement to create a heady mix of adrenaline and vulnerability. Alex took a deep breath, allowing himself to focus on the ritual of transformation. He retrieved a delicate perfume bottle from the vanity, its floral scent enveloping him as he spritzed it lightly on his neck and wrists. The fragrance was subtle but powerful, a final touch that completed the illusion and heightened the sensation of embodying a feminine persona. His thoughts drifted briefly to Emma. He loved her, adored her even, but he could never fully share this part of himself. The thought of rejection, of misunderstanding, was a constant shadow. And yet, there was a part of him that yearned for her acceptance, that hoped she might one day see and appreciate the intricate, delicate side of Alex that existed in secret. For now, though, he had to navigate alone, balancing the thrill of transformation with the anxiety of potential exposure. The apartment remained quiet, save for the soft hum of the city outside. Alex moved to the mirror again, adjusting the pearl necklace that rested delicately against his collarbone. He practiced a few gestures, tilting his head, shifting his weight from one heel to the other, testing the subtle grace of movement he had cultivated over years of private practice. Each motion reinforced the illusion, each step a small victory in his dual existence. Suddenly, a knock at the door jolted him. His heart leapt into his throat. Emma? Too early? He froze, unsure whether to run to the door or stay hidden. The knock came again, insistent, and Alex realized it was the neighbor delivering a package, a mundane interruption, yet one that heightened his awareness of how fragile his secrecy truly was. He carefully retrieved the package, moving with the deliberate grace of someone fully immersed in their feminine persona. The thrill of the near exposure sent a shiver through him. Every knock, every unexpected sound, reminded him that his secret life existed on a knife's edge, balanced between revelation and concealment. Once the package was secured, Alex returned to the mirror, examining himself with renewed focus. The dress clung perfectly, the wig framed his face just so, and the makeup highlighted every contour. He allowed himself a small, private smile. Tonight, he would push further, exploring aspects of his feminine persona he had never fully indulged before. He moved to the small vanity, selecting a pair of soft pink gloves to complete the ensemble. Sliding them onto his hands, he marveled at how something so simple could transform not only appearance, but the way he carried himself. He practiced gestures, holding the package delicately, adjusting the wig with precise movements, and smoothing the dress's fabric over his hips. Each detail mattered. Each motion reinforced the illusion, and each step intensified the emotional thrill of his secret existence. The suspense grew as he imagined Emma arriving unexpectedly. He pictured her opening the door, catching him mid-transformation. The thought sent a surge of adrenaline through his body. Would she understand? Laugh? Be horrified? The uncertainty was both terrifying and exhilarating. For Alex, this was the ultimate test, not just of secrecy, but of identity, of how fully he could inhabit the persona he had cultivated in private. Hours passed, or so it felt. Alex moved through the apartment with careful precision, testing movements in the heels, adjusting makeup under the soft light, practicing subtle expressions in the mirror. He imagined scenarios: Emma entering the apartment while he adjusted a wig, or accidentally revealing the delicate details of his ensemble. The thrill of these imagined exposures made his heart race, blending fear with desire, secrecy with liberation. At one point, Alex heard a faint sound outside the window, a passerby, perhaps, but his reflection reminded him that tonight, he was more than Alex the boyfriend. He was a persona he had nurtured, delicate and confident, fragile yet daring. The city outside could never understand this side of him, but in his apartment, every detail, the lace, the heels, the makeup, was a testament to his secret identity. He moved to a full-length mirror, testing poses, adjusting the dress, tilting his head to see the effect of the wig from every angle. Each movement brought a new level of confidence, a deeper immersion into the feminine persona that existed solely for these private moments. He marveled at the transformation, feeling both empowered and vulnerable, a duality that defined the very essence of his secret life. As midnight approached, Alex felt a mix of triumph and anxiety. He had fully embraced the persona, every detail perfected, yet the fear of exposure remained ever present. Each sound, each shadow, each imagined scenario kept him on edge, reminding him that his secret life was both a refuge and a delicate balancing act. And then, as if on cue, the phone buzzed with a message from Emma. "Hey, I might be home earlier than expected.
Can't wait to see you."
Alex's heart skipped a beat. The thrill of transformation collided with the fear of discovery. Every second counted now. Would he have time to hide, or would the delicate persona he had nurtured for years be exposed in an instant? He took a deep breath, steadying himself. The city hummed outside, the apartment remained silent, and the reflection in the mirror stared back at him, poised, delicate, and entirely feminine. Tonight, Alex's secret life would be tested like never before. Every decision, every movement, every heartbeat mattered. And as he adjusted the final details, the wig, the gloves, the necklace, Alex knew that the suspense, the thrill, and the anxiety were far from over. This night was just the beginning, a delicate prelude to challenges that would push the boundaries of secrecy, identity, and desire to their limits. The apartment seemed impossibly quiet after Alex read Emma's message. His heart raced, a steady drum of panic and exhilaration. Every sound, the hum of the refrigerator, the faint city traffic outside, even the soft ticking of the wall clock, felt magnified. Emma could be home any minute. He had to act, yet every instinct screamed to stay, to revel in the persona he had so meticulously created. He paced slowly, testing the heels with careful steps. Each click against the hardwood floor echoed like a countdown, a reminder of how precarious his situation had become. The soft pink dress clung perfectly, the lace and satin a second skin that made every movement feel both luxurious and fragile. He reached up to adjust the wig one last time, smoothing stray strands with trembling fingers. Then came a sound, a door opening downstairs. Alex froze. Was it Emma? No, the tone was casual, indifferent, the kind of step that didn't belong to someone rushing in with excitement. He held his breath as a shadow flickered across the hallway outside his door. He ducked instinctively behind the couch, the dress riding up slightly as he crouched, heart hammering against his ribcage. It was only a neighbor, returning from a late-night errand. Alex exhaled slowly, but the adrenaline lingered, leaving him acutely aware of every movement. He returned to the mirror, attempting to compose himself, adjusting his posture to exude the poise and confidence his feminine persona demanded. This wasn't just a performance, it was survival, a delicate balance between exhilaration and exposure. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Alex's phone buzzed again. Another message from Emma. "I'm 5 minutes away."
Can't wait to see you.
Panic surged. 5 minutes. He had to make a decision. Stay hidden and risk discovery, or embrace the persona fully, facing the potential consequences head-on? His reflection in the mirror seemed to mock him, the delicate features, the soft wig, the flawless makeup all daring him to step out, to embody the persona completely. Before he could decide, the doorbell rang. Alex jumped, nearly tripping in his heels. He hadn't expected a visitor, certainly not now. The knock was deliberate, insistent, echoing through the apartment like a warning. His mind raced. Who could it be? Emma? The neighbor? Something else entirely? He tiptoed to the door, glancing through the peephole. It was neither Emma nor the neighbor. A figure stood there, unfamiliar, silhouetted against the dim hallway light. The suspense tightened like a vice around his chest. Every instinct screamed to hide, yet a part of him was strangely exhilarated by the intrusion, by the unpredictable challenge it posed to his carefully constructed secrecy. Delivery. A voice called, muffled by the intercom. Alex exhaled in relief and quickly opened the door, taking the small package. The stranger left, and the door clicked shut behind them. But the brief encounter had rattled him, reminding him of the thin line between exposure and concealment. He returned to the mirror, smoothing the dress, and adjusting the wig once more. The adrenaline coursing through his veins heightened every sensation, the soft fabric against his skin, the subtle scent of perfume lingering in the air, the delicate weight of the necklace around his neck. He was acutely aware of how vulnerable he looked, yet he also felt a strange, intoxicating confidence, a thrill that came from inhabiting a persona so utterly different from the one the world expected of him. Then, the sound that made his blood run cold, the key turning in the lock. Emma. She was here. Alex froze, caught between the desire to hide and the urge to confront the moment fully. He took a deep breath, steadying himself, and stepped lightly toward the living room, heels clicking softly against the floor. Emma's eyes widened as she entered, taking in the sight of him. Alex. Her voice was a mixture of surprise and curiosity, laced with an emotion he couldn't immediately identify. Alex stammered, unsure how to explain, how to justify the persona he had nurtured in secret. Every second felt stretched, every heartbeat magnified. Emma stepped closer, her gaze scanning the dress, the makeup, the wig. You look amazing, she said finally, a smile spreading across her face. Relief, admiration, and something else, something that made Alex's heart ache, glimmered in her eyes. The tension didn't ease entirely, though. A faint creak from the hallway reminded Alex of the neighbor upstairs, of the package delivery, of every potential witness to his secret life. He realized, suddenly, that the persona he had cherished in private was no longer contained, no longer entirely safe. Emma's voice brought him back. I had no idea you've been doing this all along, she asked softly, stepping closer, her hand brushing his arm. Alex felt a shiver run down his spine, not from fear this time, but from the intimate acknowledgement of his secret, from the fragile bridge being built between hidden desire and shared understanding. It's complicated, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I've wanted to explore this, but I was afraid you'd judge me. Emma smiled, a gentle, understanding curve of her lips. Alex, you're still you. And seeing this side of you, it's beautiful. For a brief moment, relief and euphoria washed over him. He had survived the suspense, navigated the tension, and faced the ultimate test of exposure. But the danger wasn't gone. A small sound, a dropped earring, the soft rustle of fabric, reminded him that even now, the threat of discovery lingered. He adjusted the wig, smoothing it over his shoulders, and took a step closer to Emma. Every movement was deliberate, poised, a reflection of the careful control he had cultivated over his feminine persona. Her eyes followed his every gesture, filled with curiosity and fascination. Then came the twist, a sudden notification on Emma's phone, a message from her friend that made her laugh, breaking the intimate tension for just a moment. The sound reminded Alex that the world outside his apartment remained unpredictable, that secrecy was fragile, and that exposure could come in 1,000 unexpected forms. He glanced at the mirror, noting the reflection of two selves, the feminine, confident persona he had created, and the anxious, vulnerable Alex who had feared judgment for so long. The duality was both thrilling and terrifying, a delicate balance between liberation and apprehension. Emma reached out, touching his hand gently. Alex, if this is who you are, I want to know all of you, she said. Her words were soft, sincere, and they struck a chord deep within him. For the first time, he felt the possibility of acceptance, of connection, of bridging the gap between secret desire and shared life. But just as relief began to settle, the sound of another knock at the door made both of them jump. Alex's heart leapt. Another interruption, another test of secrecy. He glanced at Emma, her expression mirroring his own tension, and realized that the night was far from over. The suspense was relentless. Every knock, every creak, every sound outside the apartment reminded Alex that his secret life, his feminine persona, existed on a razor's edge. And though Emma's presence offered comfort, it also intensified the stakes, making every movement, every gesture, every decision crucial. He took a deep breath, steadying himself, aware that the night was a test of courage, identity, and trust. The feminine persona he had nurtured for years was now fully revealed, yet the world outside remained unpredictable, every second a potential threat to the delicate balance he had achieved. As the knocks continued, some distant, some closer, Alex realized that the climax wasn't just about exposure or fear. It was about embracing his identity fully, confronting judgment, and navigating the tension between secrecy and liberation. Every heartbeat, every step, every glance in the mirror reflected the intricate dance of desire, fear, and authenticity that defined his secret life. And in that tense, electric moment, Alex understood. The night was far from over, and the challenges of living a dual life, of being both himself and the feminine persona he cherished, were only beginning. The suspense, the transformation, and the emotional intensity had reached their peak, leaving him poised on the edge of revelation, ready to face whatever consequences awaited. Alex's heart was still racing as he adjusted the wig one last time. The soft rustle of his dress, the subtle shine of the necklace, and the delicate clink of his heels against the floor seemed louder now, echoing in the tiny apartment like drumbeats of impending consequence. Emma stood nearby, eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and admiration. For a fleeting moment, everything felt right. I didn't think you'd ever show me this side of yourself," Emma whispered, stepping closer. Her hand brushed his arm, and Alex felt a jolt, a thrill mixed with vulnerability. He had longed for acceptance, feared rejection, and now, here it was, tangible and real. I wanted to," he admitted softly. "But I was scared you wouldn't understand, or that I'd lose you." Emma smiled, a gentle curve of understanding.
"You won't lose me, Alex. But this is a lot to take in."
"I just need a moment to process it." Alex nodded, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. He had survived the suspense, navigated the challenges of secrecy, and faced the revelation of his secret life. And yet, just as relief began to settle, a sharp, insistent knock rattled the doorframe. Both Alex and Emma froze. The sound was deliberate, echoing through the apartment like a warning. Alex's pulse quickened, and his mind raced through possibilities: a neighbor, a delivery, or, worse, someone who might expose his secret. Emma's eyes met his, a mixture of concern and excitement. Who could that be?" she whispered. "I don't know," Alex replied, his voice tight. He took a tentative step toward the door, heels clicking softly against the floor. Every step felt like a gamble, each movement a delicate balance between revelation and concealment. Peering through the peephole, he glimpsed a figure outside, shadowed, indistinct, their intentions unclear. The suspense twisted in his stomach, a combination of fear and exhilaration. He glanced back at Emma, her expression mirroring his own tension. I should check," he murmured, his hand hovering over the doorknob. The package earlier, the neighbor, Emma's arrival, all of it had prepared him for exposure, yet this felt different, heavier, charged with a sense of unknown consequences. As he slowly turned the knob, the door creaked open, and the figure outside stepped closer. The hallway light cast long shadows across their face, obscuring identity, adding to the suspense. Alex's mind raced, imagining every scenario: an old friend discovering his secret, a nosy neighbor, or someone entirely unexpected. Emma's hand found his, squeezing gently, grounding him. "Whatever happens," she said softly, "we face it together." Alex swallowed hard, a mix of fear and anticipation twisting in his chest. The figure's face remained hidden, but their presence alone amplified every heartbeat, every breath. Then, the unexpected happened. The stranger's voice, familiar yet startling, called out, "Alex, we need to talk." He froze. Recognition surged. This was someone who knew parts of his life he had hoped to keep hidden. Panic and exhilaration collided, his secret poised on the edge of discovery. Emma's eyes widened, and Alex felt a shiver of vulnerability. The room was charged, every second stretching like elastic. He could feel the weight of the dress, the delicate wig, the meticulous makeup, all the symbols of his secret life, making him both empowered and exposed. What do you want?" Alex asked cautiously, his voice trembling slightly. The figure stepped closer, shadowed features slowly becoming clear. A smile, or was it a smirk, played across their lips, and Alex's stomach sank. Recognition, fear, and curiosity all collided in a flash. Emma tightened her grip on his hand, her gaze unwavering. "Alex, whatever this is, we'll handle it," she murmured, trying to steady him, but even she seemed uncertain about what was about to unfold. The stranger's next words cut through the tension like a knife. "You've been living a secret life, and it's about to get a lot more complicated." Alex's breath caught. Every scenario he had imagined paled in comparison to the suspense building now. The figure paused, letting the weight of their words sink in, and Alex felt the fragile barrier of secrecy crack around him. Emma's eyes searched his, seeking reassurance, while Alex realized that nothing would ever be the same. His secret, his identity, his carefully nurtured persona, all were now vulnerable, exposed to forces he hadn't anticipated. The room seemed to shrink, the air thick with anticipation. Alex's mind raced, imagining the consequences, the exposure, the judgment, and yet a part of him, thrilled and terrified, longed for the confrontation, for the challenge that awaited. The figure took one more deliberate step forward, and the final words rang out. "I know who you are, and I'm not the only one." Time seemed to freeze. Alex's heart pounded like a drum in his chest. Emma squeezed his hand again, her presence a fragile anchor in the storm of suspense. And then silence. The cliffhanger hung heavy in the air, unresolved, every possibility open. Who else knew? What would happen next? Could Alex protect his secret, or was his secret life about to unravel completely? The suspense was absolute, leaving viewers on edge, hearts racing alongside Alex's. Every second promised revelation, confrontation, and the emotional intensity of living a dual life, caught between fear, desire, and the thrill of the unknown.